Julian's 47th birthday, and we're doing that here at the High Commission in London, the Australian High Commission. It's a letter signed by journalist John Pilger, by Shirley Shackleton. You got the list? You got this? By people such as Professor Carol Ferrier of Women's Studies in Queensland University. Myself, a former anti-war prisoner of the United States, serving 13 months there for disabling a B-52 bomber. And also Senator Andrew Bartlett from Brisbane, the Senator for Queensland. Joe Valentine, a former Senator from Western Australia. And I'll read some of the average Joes who signed this. Janet Connolly from Brisbane, a nurse. Ian Kerr from Brisbane, a democratic rights activist. Dr. Darcis, Broadbeach, Queensland, general practitioner. Jim Dowling, Daedra, support worker. Terry Fisher, Brisbane, solicitor. Rick Grafford, Mottram, Canberra, sound engineer. Tom Hincliffe, Brisbane, primary school teacher. Angela Jones, Brisbane, researcher. Reverend Father Pat Jordan, Dominican, Brisbane, Catholic priest. June Kelly, Indigenous Tasmanian, stenographer and independent researcher global affairs, now living in Ireland. Dr. Gary McLennan, Brisbane consultant. Kay McFadden, Sister Kay McFadden, Josephite religious nun. Reverend Peter Manane, Dominican from Victoria, Catholic priest. Dana Nicklin, Greenslopes, Brisbane mediator. Michael O'Keefe from the Northern Rivers, an ecologist. Mary O'Reilly, my mother, and the mother of three. Sean O'Reilly, my brother. Brendan O'Reilly, my brother. Reverend Dave Smith, Anglican vicar, pugilist, boxer, father of four from Sydney. Kevin Trainer from Waterford, a concerned citizen. Sally Trainer, Waterford driving instructor. David Turley, Adelaide musician, that's Lovers Electric, father of four. Jennifer Upton, Brisbane accountant. David Whelan from Melbourne, a lawyer. So all these people signed this statement, which I'll read now, delivered on Julian Assange's 47th birthday. We Australians here in London and from further afield welcome the first ever visit to Julian Assange by Australian consular staff on 8th of June 2018. As a sign of a new regard for Mr. Assange's human rights, as you take the helm at the High Commission, and as of this month, Mr. Assange has been confined 6 years at the Ecuadorian Embassy in London, which the UN has deemed an arbitrary deprivation of his liberty, a grave human rights abuse, which ought to end expeditiously, and for which, according to the UN Working Group on Arbitrary Detention, he ought to be compensated by Britain and Sweden. Point 2. We hope you share our deep concern at attacks on whistleblowers and the danger posed to our democracy, security and good governance when whistleblowers are deterred. As President Obama in 2018, in relation to US government whistleblowing, said, as President Obama, "We only know these crimes took place because insiders blew the whistle at great personal risk. Whistleblowers are part of a healthy democracy and must be protected from reprisal." The High Commission has a duty to ensure Mr. Assange, an Australian citizen, is treated no less favourably than local citizens detained for similar offences. British citizens enjoy the protection of the UK Human Rights Act 1998 and the European Convention of Human Rights, which guarantee their rights of freedom of expression. This right includes freedom to hold opinions without interference and to seek, receive and impart information and ideas to any media and regardless of frontiers, and to do so without interference by public authority. He also has a right to be presumed innocent and a right to the highest attainable standard of physical and mental health. As Australian High Commissioner, you must ensure Mr. Assange's treatment by UK authorities accords with those standards. In light of the above, we the undersigned ask you to convey our urgent and emphatic request to our government to do its utmost to defend Julian Assange's human rights and the free and lawful operation of WikiLeaks. Specifically, we ask the Australian government to promptly renew Mr. Assange's Australian passport following its recent expiry. Ensure Mr Assange is guaranteed full and timely access to all necessary medical and dental care. Respect and defend his right to receive information and impart information freely without interference by any public authority. Robustly defend Mr Assange at home and abroad and object to threats levelled against Mr Assange by high-profile US citizens and others. Strenuously oppose any application to have Mr Assange extradited to the United States, where it is unlikely he would receive a fair trial. Press the UK government to facilitate the exercise of his right to freedom of movement in an expedient manner, and both the UK and Swedish governments to compensate him for his arbitrary detention. We thank you for your attention to these matters of fundamental importance to a free and democratic society. Sincerely, those the undersigned. And we have now 100 signatures, and we encourage you to sign this document. You can send it, your signature, to my address at the moment. That's CIA, as in Central Intelligence Agency, RON, as in Ron Reagan, X, that's CIARONX, @yahoo.com. What we need is your name, your Australian place of birth or residence, and your occupation or vocation, whether that be journalist, father of four, whatever. So join this growing band of Australians who are responding with empathy and solidarity to Julian's plight. Thank you.
Thank you.